Hello and welcome to the Church of Truth, where we will try to help you differentiate opinion from fact and faith from belief. How do we know what is true? How can we differentiate what is opinion from what is fact? First, it is important that we clearly define these two concepts. For the purposes of our discussion, what is true will be defined as that which can be proven mathematically and by independent testing and observation. We will not dispute basic facts on this channel. I will not argue with you that the earth is not flat. If you wish to be that ridiculously wrong, you have that right in any free society. And while we should of course refrain from calling anyone names, we cannot ignore the fact that some arguments are completely ignorant of the truth. To state otherwise is a disservice to all of us. Likewise, we will not argue for the existence of the universe, or for ourselves as sentient beings. We will start with the principle that the universe exists to the best of our provable examination, and that we exist as thinking beings. Whether our universe is a perfect simulation or not is not relevant to our discussion of how it works, and our place within it. If the simulation is perfect and indistinguishable from reality, then, we would argue, it is reality, at least for us. Let us start with some basic facts that have been proven true by multiple methods of evaluation. The universe is about 13.787 plus or minus 0.020 billion years old. In the beginning, our universe was concentrated into a very small, unbelievably dense focus of pure energy. We cannot yet prove what created the universe, nor why it came into being. And some will argue that nothing can come from nothing, so there must have been something to create the universe. They will usually argue that this something is one of the 6,000 or so anthropomorphic beings imagined into existence by our ancestors. There is no evidence that supports any of these theories. And while, being mutually exclusive, they can't all be true, they can all be false. Everyone on earth is an atheist, to all the other gods but their own. But we do know for a fact, from the laws of quantum dynamics, that matter and energy can indeed come from nothing. This is called quantum foam and has been proven in the laboratory. It turns out that there is no such thing as truly empty space at the subquantum level. At a resolution smaller than the Planck distance, where the uncertainty principle reigns supreme, probability waves spontaneously collapse, creating particle and antiparticle pairs out of nothing at all. These particle-antiparticle pairs very quickly cancel each other out, but not so quickly that their existence cannot be felt and proven. The Dutch physicist Henrik Casimir suggested that if there were a quantum foam like this, that there would be a wavelength associated with the particles coming into and out of existence. Einstein and others had proven this true, and that if we could put two non-charged physical plates close enough together in a vacuum, we could exclude from between them any particles with a wavelength greater than the distance between the plates. Since there would now be more particles outside the plates than between them, there should be a pressure trying to push them together. He turned out to be right, and this force, called the Casimir effect in his honor, has been demonstrated in the laboratory. The particle-antiparticle pair doesn't exist in our universe for very long. They annihilate each other and pop back out of existence. It might be argued that this violates the laws of conservation of mass and energy, but it turns out that on the quantum scale, a small debt of existence can be made, if it's paid back quickly enough. How does this relate to an entire universe like ours suddenly coming into being? First, we don't know that our universe came from nothing. We only know that if there was something before, all trace of it has been lost. On the other hand, it is not impossible that an equal and opposite universe was created at the same time as ours, and is counterbalancing the debt of existence that our universe owes to the cosmos. All that being said, the age of the universe has been independently proven by several different methods, from readings of the background microwave radiation to the Hubble Space Telescope looking back billions of years in time, soon to be outdone by the James Webb Space Telescope, which, being an infrared telescope, will be able to see the galaxies that have expanded so far from us, that their light has shifted to the infrared, and is no longer visible to us. We do know, in fact, that the universe is expanding, like a balloon being inflated. We know that gravity is holding the galaxies together, but that in between the galaxies, space is still expanding, and there is no speed limit to the expansion of space. Nothing in our universe can be accelerated in space-time equal to or faster than the speed of light. This value, known as c in most equations, is the limit of causality in our universe. But space-time itself accelerated much faster than the speed of light during the universe's early days, and for long after, and it continues to expand, shifting the light of distant galaxies, carried away from us by that expansion, into the red wavelengths and finally into the infrared. In the far future, they will shift to radio waves and then become undetectable to us, leaving our galaxy seemingly alone in a dark universe. Einstein's equations predicted this expansion. By doubting the truth of the equations, Einstein created a constant to counteract it. If he had not done so, then Edwin Hubble's observations of the redshift would have been proof of another one of Einstein's brilliant theories. Einstein missed out on this one, not trusting the equations enough. It was this redshift that first proved the universe is expanding, and therefore must have been much smaller in the distant past. Extrapolating back from what is visible today, we get another independent measure of the universe's age, which matches well with the measurement of the residual heat of the primordial expansion. In that first release of energy were photons. As these photons moved away at light speed and the universe expanded, the photons were stretched from gamma rays through X-rays and into visible light, and then from visible light to microwaves. It is this residual glow of microwave radiation, seen by the instruments on the European Space Agency's Planck satellite, that confirm our theory on the beginnings of our universe, and prove that theory to be fact. The Hubble Space Telescope was able to see far away from Earth, and therefore deep into the past. But because the oldest galaxies are the farthest away from us, they have shifted beyond Hubble's gaze. The James Webb Telescope will be able to look much further back, to the beginnings of time itself, at least for our universe. We also know that the Earth is about 4.54 plus or minus 0.05 billion years old. We know this through multiple independent measures that can be objectively examined by anyone who takes the effort. Not just fossils, which prove the point to any reasonable degree, but also through radiometric dating of isotopes of uranium, lead, samarium, neodymium, rubidium, rhenium, strontium, osmium, and argon. We have also sampled and dated the Moon, and indeed pieces of Mars, delivered to us by gravity after massive impacts on the Martian surface threw them into space, and of comets and asteroids by the same force, as well as sampling missions. These facts are proven beyond any reasonable doubt. So is the fact that human beings evolved on this planet, as has every other form of life we have evaluated so far. All life on Earth shares not just the same DNA alphabet, the nucleotides thymine, guanine, cytosine, and adenosine, but all organisms on Earth use the same language to read that alphabet. Every 3 nucleotides form a word, and the meaning of that word, with very few exceptions, is universal to all life found so far on Earth. That means that all life on Earth is related, and descended from a universal common ancestor that evolved relatively soon after the Earth cooled. In the most fundamental sense, we are all family, with every organism on this planet, from the simplest microscopic life form to the largest animal to have ever existed on our world. Molecular analysis of the DNA of millions of people has also proven that all humans living on the Earth today are descended from a common ancestral hominid that lived about 315,000 years ago. There used to be other intelligent hominids on this world, but they are all dead now, and only we remain. The analysis also proves that humans and the modern apes we are most related to, chimpanzees and bonobos, diverged from a common ancestor between 6.5 and 9.3 million years ago. These animals are still around because they evolved also to match the environment they lived in. We did not evolve from modern apes. We evolved side by side with them from an earlier progenitor. These facts do not rest easy with the creation myths that arose over time as humans tried to explain their existence and the universe around them. But these are facts, observable and independently provable. If the modern translation of your chosen religious text disagrees with objective reality, then your God was ignorant of the facts, or the translators got something wrong. Either way, what is often called revealed doctrine cannot be depended on to find truth. Now, you may choose to believe it anyway, and it may comfort you to believe what it says about the importance of humanity to the cosmos. But I will argue that the facts say otherwise. The facts tell us that we are a single species, on one tiny rock, orbiting one of billions of ordinary stars, in the outskirts of one of billions of galaxies, that we can see to exist in our universe. And I will argue further. I will argue that our lives mean nothing to anyone, other than those who love us, and those who choose to recognize that all of humanity are one tribe. We are all family. We are brothers and sisters. And if we don't protect each other from ourselves and from the cold, uncaring universe we find ourselves in, then we are lost, and our species will come to an end, just like our evolutionary cousins and thousands of other animals have done on this world, and almost certainly on other worlds out in that vast darkness. I hope that if the children of another star ever find our world, that they find us living in harmony and love with one another, and don't have to pick through the ruins of our lost civilization to try to understand what we once were. Let us live our lives under the principle that every life has value and no one is beyond redemption. Primum nihil nocias, deinde meo defesis.